Hey there, hi there. I have been on a big home reno kick basically since I moved into this house because, in my opinion, it was painfully stale and boring when I got it. But over the past few weeks, I've been kicking it up again to go ahead and finish off a few things that I've been waiting for a while. So, this is kind of a long winded way to say that this is what prompted this video of the most common things that the villagers upgrade in their houses from when you buy a spec house that is a blank slate. This doesn't really apply for the houses that you get to design from the ground up, so it's completed the way you want ish when you move in, but we will talk about that here in just a little bit. My name is Caitlin. I'm a realtor with LPT Realty, and this is Visit the Villages, Florida. I am also the daughter of a custom home builder and trim carpenter, so I joke all the time that some things that I like in my houses, it's really not my fault. My family just raised me to look at houses a little bit differently, and some of the things that they had in their houses, I really want in mine. But at the end of this video, I will clip together some of the projects that I have done at my house and then what I'm currently working on to make it a little less builder grade and a little bit more personal. Oh, and I also want to, excuse me, preface this by saying that these are just the most common upgrades and my opinions. If you don't think painting a wall is necessary and you love the white walls, then that's perfectly okay too. So everything that I go over I will have a bunch of different contractors that can help you with projects. If you need some of those names, go ahead, send me a message, call me, send me an email, and I will get those names sent on over to you. So then starting with paint, when the builder sells their homes, their walls are white. And while the white is a little too stark for me, that's not necessarily the issue. The bigger issue is that it's a flat paint, so it scuffs so easily. And it's not like you can just take a damp cloth either to like rub off marks. The sheen just doesn't allow that. So you either have to use your paint touch-up kit or just repaint the house. I repainted my house kind of on a whim. The story behind that was I was unloading groceries and the blue color of the Kroger bag left a mark on my wall. And I just got so fed up with how easily the wall scuffed. So I went to the paint store completely unprompted and then painted in 2 days. I say it was a bit manic, but it worked out and it was probably the push that I needed to go ahead and get that done. So painting the house is one of the most common upgrades. And don't be scared of color. Not saying that you need to paint your entire house like turquoise or color drench every area, but you should be able to see some of your personality in your house. If you do really bold colors, you know that there will be a risk that you will have to repaint a bit more neutral, buyer friendly when you do go ahead to sell it. And then we have landscaping. If you have driven around the area or saw pictures online, you can see such a wide variety of exterior landscaping. The builder will give you the basic plants with pine straw as a standard. And then from there, people will either go with removing some of the original plants with some palm trees or other plants that they want for their Florida style house. And then they'll just go, one step further. So a lot of times you will see people do pretty insane hardscaping designs, and then some will just be very basic and go around the perimeter. I will say with everything outside, especially landscaping and hardscaping around the house, you need to send your plans into the Architectural Review Committee, or ARC, as we refer to it here, so they can approve your design. You will need to have the layout, plants, aerial shots, survey lines, and some things, hardscape heights if you are stacking stone, and pretty much all the details pertaining to your project. When you submit your proposal, depending on the day that you send it in, it'll probably take about 2 weeks to be read at the meeting and then returned with the approval or deny. If they deny it, they will give you the exact reason and then give you a chance to resubmit with the modifications. Know that if you get denied and say your neighbor has the exact plan for what you wanted to do, that doesn't necessarily mean that they got approval. They may have just done it, and that is a huge risk because then you may be required to rip it out on your own expense. You can check all the exterior requirements on the district.gov website. If you do not know your district, you can go to Find My District and you type in your address and it'll pop up for you. From there, you can go to residential districts, select your districts, and then look at the architectural review manual for all of the requirements for your specific area. They do change from one area to the next. So if you have a friend that lives up in Spanish Springs, their rules are going to be pretty different than if you live down south or by Sawgrass. So then speaking of things outside, the biggest obvious upgrade is the addition of pools, bird cages, pavers, concrete expansion, all of that here in the backyard. You don't need to have a pool to have a bird cage. I've had a couple people ask me that before. So on bird cages, you can also put up a canvas cover on the top to help block out some of the UV rays and then get a little extra protection if it is raining. People will also add the roller shades in the lanai or bird cage to block out some of the sun or the neighbors. If you live in a fenced yard, an area like a veranda, courtyard villa, any of that with a fenced yard, then technically you do not need to have a bird cage around your pool if you don't want one. There are requirements for Florida pool laws that you need to have a barrier of at least, I want to say it was 4 feet, and self-latching or self-closing doors. There, of course, are other requirements for pools and all of that, like alarms, but the pool companies will get into all of those details because they can and will change pretty regularly. If you wanted more living space, people will often enclose their lanai and turn it into a sunroom. And then they can also pour more concrete outside of the back door, add that bird cage, so then they can still be protected from bugs. So you get a little bit of both. You can still have your outdoor space with a screen. There are a lot of different levels of upgrades that you can do if you enclose your lanai also. Some people just take off the screening and then do floor to ceiling windows that will slide open. Some will drywall this area and then put, shorter windows. Some will go all out and raise the lanai floor to be level with the house and then pipe in another HVAC vent or add a mini split so that this turns into a heated and cooled area. If you do all of that, then you can technically include your finished lanai to be included in your overall home square footage. But if you do that, that will also increase your taxes for finished living space. Something to consider. If you are in Middleton, I don't really see this much in the villages, but our lanais, for the most part, don't come screened in. Some models are, and if you build from scratch, then you would have the option to do it before closing. But most of the spec houses are just the covered lanai, and then you screen it after the fact. Oh, and then another thing for the outside, adding gutters. It sounds silly that the houses here don't come with gutters, but you do have to put them on after the fact if you want them. I read before that because they say that the soil is sand, it's highly absorbent. So the casual rainstorm will, soak up all the rain pretty quickly, which is why they're not required for Florida in most areas, more specifically this area that we're talking about of Central Florida, the villages proper, Middleton, all of that. My decision to add gutters was mainly because the sideways rain that we get during like hurricane storms and those big things, I didn't want the water to overflow and just go right to the side of my foundation, add any divots or, lose integrity on the concrete slab. It's also a lot quieter when you have gutters on the house because you don't have water flowing from every single angle around you. I have a funny story about that, and it's kind of what prompted me to go ahead and get gutters. So before I got gutters to my house, we had a pretty heavy rainstorm, and I heard this pinging coming from behind my kitchen wall, and it was so loud, like a neighbor was dropping marbles in a pot. So I eventually went outside, yes, even when it was raining, to see what was happening. And it turns out that it was my fault because I had a tin trash can lined up perfectly under my roof line and the rain was pinging on the lid. So yes, I went ahead and pulled the trash can away from the roof line, so it did get a lot quieter. That was my fault. And then it's also now pretty silent since I have gutters. The only thing you hear is rushing down in the downspouts. So what else do we have for common upgrades? Back in the house, people are moving away from carpet. I really don't think we have a large percentage of houses with carpet in the oh my God, common areas like living or dining rooms, but most bedrooms come standard with carpet. If you do rip out flooring in the home, I would love to have a plan together to make things go as cohesive as possible so you don't see three different floor types in the house. LVP is the easiest and most common floor to replace the carpet with, but some of the houses that already have tile in the kitchen and bathrooms, it may be easier to just go ahead and match it as close as you can if tile is your favorite. If you are replacing carpet in the bedrooms with LVP or tile and they do not make your exact pattern anymore, or there's like a weird cutout at the door frame, so like it's all like triangular going into the door frame, instead of just adding new flooring, consider adding a mix of like a transition strip to add things together. And I'm not talking about like the above transition strip, I'm talking about like the tile to tile transition strip. I'm going to show a picture of what I'm talking about because I don't know how to kind of perfectly describe it. You can also put LVP over tile so you don't have to go through that major process and incredibly dusty and noisy removal. But I would recommend to reach out to a flooring professional to see if that is possible in your house and if you have the room to make that work once your baseboards are pulled off. Some other things, and we're wrapping it up here, is going to be a whole house water filter or softener system. The most common brands are Nova and Pegasus that you'll see in the garages next to the water shutoff valve for the whole house. We definitely have hard water and it will leave calcium buildup on showers, and some people with sensitive skin say that they definitely can tell the difference. Solar tubes are also a big thing. They're essentially a circular skylight and they come in different sizes, but I would say that the average is probably between like 12 to 14 inches in diameter. So they will allow the natural light to come into the house, and they are most often seen in laundry rooms, closets, or rooms without windows or sliding doors. Personally, I wouldn't put one in the bedroom just because they can get awfully bright in the morning and there really isn't a like alternative for a blackout shade, so you can have a bit more darkness when needed if you want to take an afternoon nap or anything along those lines. Custom closets are also a big thing. I'm going to be hopefully working on mine here sometime this year, as well as the pantry. But a lot of people will be shying away from the wire shelving and put in wooden systems with multiple levels, closets, the whole 9 yards. I think those are the most common upgrades that people do to their house. So if you are buying new or a house that is pretty bare bones, you may want to consider some of these projects when it comes to customizing your house post-closing. It is definitely important to budget for and get multiple quotes whenever possible. I told you earlier that I will include some videos of the projects that I've been working on these past couple of weeks at my house. Just for reference, I've done a laundry room remodel, and then I'm working on right now a light kitchen and bath remodel. They are not done yet, especially the bathrooms. So what I did was I added an epoxy countertop and then new backsplash in the kitchen, and then I did epoxy counter in the bathrooms. New light fixtures and mirrors will go in the bathrooms, but this is a project that I'm going to keep working on for a little bit to find exactly what I'm looking for, because I like to do projects and then just kind of sit on them for a minute until I'm done and ready. Other projects that I've done to the house include adding some frame molding in my bedroom, window casings all around the windows. Yes, I did it myself. I'm very proud. Trim to the entryway, built-in cabinets in my living room nook that will have shelving on the sides. And I am taking this one slow so I don't rush into any design snags, since I will have to look at it all the time and I don't want to have to redo it or repaint it or re-wallpaper it or anything. I have also added a concrete pad outside of my house, put up fencing in the back, screened in the lanai, painted the whole house, changed out all of the light fixtures. I've added ceiling fans everywhere, including the lanai, except for one of my bedrooms. Changed out all of the nickel door latches and hinges with black, and then had gutters installed. So it's been a lot of projects for a brand new home. But I'm going to go ahead, send this over to you now. Enjoy the project clips. Thank you for watching. I will see you around next time.